G'day crew. This trip started off okay with a nice early departure from the Raby Bay ramp and a plan to go and drop the crab pots, fish the West Peel artificial reef for the morning bite before going to troll for some mackerel and then going over to Harry's for the afternoon bite. I had a good plan. But you know what they say about the best laid plans of mice and men. It didn't take long for things to start to go wrong.
Well, this trip's not off to a good start. I've done something that I've never ever done before, and that is I forgot the crab bait. So unless I catch something that I can use for crab bait, I won't be getting any crabs.
Well, because I didn't have any crab bait, I'm spot locked over at West Peel Artificial Reef, and it is well before dawn, so sitting here waiting for the dawn bite. Okay, we're on. At last. Not big at all. How big are you? Let's see, we go from 20 to 36. I think I might let you go. Can't get anything better than that. Let's get a happy snap. Yeah, definitely 36. And once again, the underwater camera failed to record the fish swimming away. Now last time it was a camera issue, but I don't think I can blame the camera on this occasion. The water was so dirty, I couldn't see what direction the fish headed off in, so I couldn't track it at all. And as it turned out, that was the first of many camera issues during this trip. Oh, I think they're still sitting up in the water. We're at the maximum run on the current at the moment, so I'll put another heavier Klik Sinker on it. See how that goes. To troll for a mackerel, I went up through the Rouse Channel with the object of trolling around the inside of the bar and the top end of North Stradbroke Island around Amity. The theory there being that the water was so dirty down at the West Peel Artificial Reef that I figured you're not going to get any clean water until you get out near the bar. Didn't pick up anything, but the water was noticeably cleaner. Was a little bit of weed there, but no sediment to make the water all dirty. However, no mackerel either, which I found a bit surprising because I generally find that the mackerel prefer the cleaner water. Still, it's a big bay, they could have been anywhere. I've taken the swivel off these because I think that was the main problem last time why I wasn't getting proper hookups. I thought I was being clever putting a swivel up closer so I wouldn't get twisted in the line, but I don't think it was working for me. I didn't get any mackerel this trip either, but I did manage to hook up to several grinners, which I wasn't even getting them last trip, if you'll recall. The fact that I was hooking up to grinners on the same lures that I was using last trip confirms my suspicions about why I was getting failures to hook up and not catching any mackerel at all, really, on the last trip, not even any grinners. If you saw the video of the last trip, you'll know that I put an extra ball bearing swivel with a snap on it just in front of the lure. My thinking was that having that extra swivel there would reduce line twist and would also allow me to change the lure pretty quickly. And since it was just a spoon lure, I didn't think that the snap swivel would make any difference. Now I think I was wrong. The fact that I was catching grinners on the same lures this time without the snap swivel in the same spot, I'm pretty sure that the whole issue for the last trip was the snap swivel. The lures themselves, all perfect. The fact that I tried new lures and a snap swivel at the same time was a bad move. Whenever you're trying something new, you should try one thing at a time so you can prove it or disprove it and then try something else. And that's what I normally do. I was just so sure that the snap swivel wouldn't make a difference. And as I said, I was wrong. Getting away from the ramp so early this morning, it was too early to go and look for any live bait, so I had to use my reserve bait to fish at the West Peel Artificial Reef. And then I moved on, as I said, to trolling for mackerel. So on the way from trolling for the mackerel back to Harry's to do the afternoon fishing, I did have a chance to gather some live bait, but I didn't have very long to do it if I was still going to catch the afternoon bite. I did manage to find some bait, and I did manage to get half a dozen baits, and I decided that with the way my luck was going, that was just going to have to do, otherwise I was going to miss the bite time at Harry's. By this time, one camera had failed altogether, and the other one kept turning itself off every few minutes, possibly because of a thermal shutdown. Although I was on my way to Harry's and trying to make the bite time, it wasn't a very big detour to go and have a look at the fowl ground on the way. Being a weekend, I suspected Harry's would be very busy, given the good weather. Unfortunately, the fowl ground was also very busy. I had a bit of a sound around, staying clear of the boats. There were some fish there, but had I stopped and spot-locked over them in a position where I could fish them, I would have been too close to other boats. I don't like crowding other fish-O's, and I don't like them coming along and crowding me either. So I try to give a respectful distance between boats, and as I said, the fowl ground was just too busy for me. So I continued on to Harry's. Whatever was down there managed to kill my live baits without getting hooked. A couple of them it took the live bait off. One of them it just chomped up and sent it back. Didn't get hooked up and didn't take the bait. It just bit it until it died. Don't know what that was. It had a reasonably large mouth though, whatever it was. As I suspected, Harry's was extremely busy with all the good spots taken. I did hunt around and eventually found a spot that was fairly well out of the way and had a bit of bait on it and what looked like it could have been the odd larger fish. So I spot-locked on it and set about fishing there. As I said, I only had half a dozen live baits and I used them all up in that spot. You've torn your mouth, have you? Okay, well, in that case, all we do, we'll go up. There we go. Don't tangle yourself. No. Oh. Okay. I think I've got something here. Oh, I don't know. Nothing big. Another grinner. Another grinner. Yeah, you're going in the bait bucket. Fishing trip from hell, this one. And with my bait all gone, my camera's mostly not working for one reason or another. My crab bait left at home. I decided that this was the fishing trip from hell, and I should just pack up, go home, lick my wounds, and come out another day when I might have better luck. And by better luck, I mean coming out when it's less crowded. I like to fish midweek when there's not so many people out. When the water's not so dirty. The water around the West Peel Artificial Reef was filthy. It was really, really murky. Harry's wasn't too bad. Foul ground wasn't too bad. Out inside the bar was pretty good, but I didn't find any mackerel there, so I don't know what the reason behind that was. Usually I find the mackerel like the cleaner water, and when you find the cleaner water and the mackerel are around, that's where they'll be, but not so on that day. Even the Rouse Channel wasn't too bad as far as clarity goes. It's funny how when you do a fishing trip and something goes wrong right at the start, it seems to create a snowball effect. Other things go wrong. They're not necessarily related to the first thing that went wrong. The first thing that went wrong on this trip, I forgot the crab bait. Then the water was very dirty in the first spot I wanted to fish at the West Peel Artificial Reef. And shortly after that, the camera started to play up. I think there was a thermal issue with one of the cameras that was getting overheated and shutting down. And anyway, a lot of the footage that I wanted to get, I didn't get because of that. Didn't manage to get as much live bait as I would have liked. That was probably a bit my fault. I could have foregone the trolling and gone and got live bait instead. I go out about once a fortnight and try to get enough footage to make a couple of interesting videos combined with some of the other topics that I cover. So I guess not every trip can be a resounding success, but I'd have to say that I've had more than my fair share of good trips over the last 6 months. It's about time I had a bad one, I guess. You've got to look at it that way sometimes. On the plus side, I always try to learn from my mistakes. And I'm pretty sure that I'll never forget the crab bait again. I've never done it in the past, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. Now, I did once forget the crab pot ropes. I picked up the bag that I thought the ropes were in. It turned out that it had life jackets in it. So I couldn't put the crab pots out that time, but I did have the bait with me that time. Anyway, after a trip like this, the next one should be good. Until then, good fishing.